Hello, I'm the blind guy. St. Patrick's Day is coming soon and I thought I would make a traditional Irish dish which is a stew with some Guinness beer. So the ingredients for this dish are the celery, a carrot, an onion, a garlic, tomato paste, thyme, of course beef, stew beef, bacon, beef stock, and of course the beer. But before we do the cooking, there is one important step that I don't want to miss, which is try the beer and see if it meets the high standard. Cheers! Okay, we're going to start by chopping up the carrot into bite-sized chunks. Next, we're going to chop up the celery stick. Next, we're going to chop up the onion. I'm going to cut off a part of it and peel it. Next, I'm going to chop up my bacon. I stacked multiple pieces on top of each other so I could cut them together. This requires a little bit of effort because the bacon is tough. Next, I'm going to mince some garlic. I want to keep it separate because I'm going to add it at the end of cooking. All done. Next, I'm going to mince the garlic together. I'm going to just basically chop it one way and chop it the other way. Now let's move on to the stove. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add bacon to the hot skillet. I don't really need to add oil because the bacon is going to give off the fat. Let's wait a little for the fat to melt. And then I'm going to add the onions to the skillet. And then we're going to saute the bacon with the onions together. Now that the bacon has melted and released the fat, I'm going to add the onions. And I'm going to saute the onions with the bacon. What I want is for the onions to caramelize. I reduced the heat a little bit. Let's give it another 5 minutes. Now that the bacon and the onion has been on the stovetop for 10 minutes altogether, I'm going to add the garlic. I'm going to add it at the end of this process because I don't want the garlic to burn. It actually easily burns. We don't want it to go brown. We want it to just release the flavor, but stay intact. Now we're going to remove this mix from the frying pan because we're going to sear the meat for a little bit separately. So I'm going to put it into this bowl and then put it at the end. Now I removed the onion with the bacon from the skillet. I'm going to add some more oil before putting the meat in. That's just so that the meat doesn't get stuck to the bottom. And let me put the meat. I'm going to spread out the meat evenly through the skillet so that we can sear it evenly on all sides. Let it sear for about 5 minutes and then I'm going to mix it so it sears on the other side. The meat has been searing for about 5 minutes. I'm going to turn it over so that the other side gets a chance to also sear. You can see the difference in color between the side that's seared and the side that's not seared. By the way, I increased the heat to high so that it gets a chance to sear well. Now that we let the meat to sear for another 5 minutes on the other side, we're going to add all the ingredients in and let it stew for another couple hours until the meat is cooked through. So we're going to add the garlic, onions and the bacon back in. And we're going to add the other vegetables, which is the celery and the carrot. We're going to add a generous pinch of salt. We're going to add a couple of sticks of thyme. We're going to add whole sticks. We're not going to peel the leaves off, and we're going to remove them before we actually eat it, the dish. Because we're making a stew, we're going to add liquid ingredients. It's all going to mix in well together. The next ingredient is the tomato paste. I'm going to just add about 1 spoon of it. There we go. Maybe 2 spoons. Now that we added all the solid ingredients, we're going to add the liquid ingredients so that we can see how much of it we need, or how much of the liquid we need. We need to cover the whole thing with the liquid. But let's mix it in a little bit so that so it spreads out evenly on the stove before we add the liquid. Okay, spread it out. And now let's add the Guinness beer. Ooh, it's still carbonated. I think at this point I'm going to add the beef stock. Okay, let's add the beef stock. It's going to add a lot of flavor. Okay, that's enough liquid. Let's mix it all in. And we're going to cover it with a lid and let it steam and stew for 2 hours until the meat is cooked through. It smells delicious, by the way. It smells like Guinness beer. By the way, the beer is going to evaporate, so you're not going to get any alcohol in the resulting dish. You're just going to get the flavor from the beer. The flavor, by the way, in case you want to know, comes from the hops and the malt in the beer. I'm planning to make another video where I'm going to talk about the different types of beer and beer pairings, so stay tuned. Alright, it's all mixed in. Let's cover it up with the lid, like that. And I'm going to reduce the heat a little bit. And I'm going to let it steam for 2 hours. Now it would be traditional to make an Irish stew with some mashed potatoes as a side. And while the meat is on the stovetop steaming, I thought I would show you how to prepare some basic mashed potatoes. I'm thinking to make a separate video on my channel just for that. But this is the process that I'm using. You could see that I peeled and cooked the mashed potatoes. You could tell that they are well cooked using the fork test, meaning that the potatoes are soft enough to be punctured with a fork. So I need a few basic ingredients for the mashed potatoes. I need a generous pinch of salt. I need some milk, whole milk, cream, any milk would do. And I'm also going to add some butter. Now this is only going to work if the potatoes are still hot. If the potatoes are cold, you need to melt the butter before you add it. And now that it's all in the bowl, I'm going to use this potato masher. I'm going to attach a link in the description that takes you to the site where you can buy one. To mash the potatoes, you just push them down with the potato masher and just use the masher to mix it up as well. As you're pushing it down, you're turning it slowly. Now we're mashing these potatoes until we reach the consistency we want. Some people like it a little mushier, some people like it a little lumpier, but this is about the consistency that I like. And I'm going to mix it up together because the masher is kind of big. And I'm going to use the fork to mix up all the potatoes at the end. Now for the best part of the video, you know what it is, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's grab a big spoon because it's a stew. It's kind of like a soup. The stew is on top of mashed potatoes. So I'm going to grab both the stew and the mashed potatoes together. The stew, and let's give it a big bite. It's better than I expected. So I like it. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. I enjoy showing you the cooking process. I hope you enjoy watching it, and I'll see you next time.